Wall Street veteran Bernard Madoff has been arrested and charged with running a $50 billion Ponzi scheme.
Congress wants to know what caused the Enron meltdown.
Now, while the collective rage currently is focused on WorldCom,
Tyco CEO Dennis Kozlowski was convicted of looting hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is one of the biggest fraud cases ever.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Find out more on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
Each year, about 1 million people in the United States get arrested for DWI. We love to drive here in the United States, and driving drunk really adds that extra challenge when you're on the road. All jokes aside, drunk driving is a serious matter that can get you into serious trouble with the law. When you do get arrested for drunk driving, who do you call? That's where Jamie Balagia comes in, the lawyer who made his fortune off of intoxicated drivers who ended up stumbling into bigger crimes. What went down? Find out on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
You know what I like? In Britain, they call it drink driving.
Drink driving.
Drink driving. What is that?
Drink driving.
How does that work?
Excuse me, I'm drink driving.
I just want to know, like when you get really drunk in Britain, am I drink? Oh, I'm so drink right now. I better text all my exes. No. So why call it drink?
Fucking drink right now.
Why call it drink driving?
I don't know. And it's silly.
Huh? This is a country that used to own half the world. Stop being ridiculous. That's all I'm saying.
They can't.
No
can't
offense.
Stop, won't stop.
No offense to 5% of our listenership, which does reside.
I think they could agree with us.
Yeah, well, maybe they're like, actually, you know what? It is a little ridiculous, right?
You know what? It is a bit silly.
Yeah, we should change it, but you know.
Why change tradition?
Exactly.
Well, on that note, welcome to another season of White Collars, Red Hands.
It's season 17. Honestly, did anyone forget that we take a 3-week break and you just thought we were done? Because we're not. We're back.
We're not done. Right. We're not done. Just like my period after day 3, we're not done. We're back.
That one's for the women out there.
For anyone who gets a period.
You know what?
Be inclusive.
Even for the women that don't get periods.
Yep.
It can be for you too. I don't care.
Okay.
That joke's for you.
It is for you. It is for you. Are you going to introduce yourself?
Yeah, guess what? I'm Kashan.
And I'm Nina. And we are so excited to be back for another season. Season 17.
Hell yeah. Counting down to the big 1-8.
1-8. Yeah.
Because then we'll be 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be legal.
Yeah. Then Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be breaking down our door. Jesus Christ.
He will. We're only good for, what?
Can't wait.
6 years?
7. I think he goes to 25. We're good for 7 years.
Oh, good. Thank God.
And
Thank
then,
God.
And then you can dump us for the next hot 18-year-old podcast.
Perfect.
You know how it is.
Love that. Well, let's start. Speaking of hot 18-year-olds, let's get started. Just kidding. This person's not 18 or hot.
What a terrible transition. Speaking of hot 18-year-olds, Jesus Christ. A watch list activity again. We were talking about some watch list activity. That
will get me on a watch list. Absolutely. For sure. All right. Let's talk about Jamie Balagia. Jamie Balagia started his career as a cop in Austin, Texas. In 1986, he joined the Austin, Texas police force, and his unit actually the whole purpose of his unit was to catch sex workers.
I imagine, how do they do that? A big dog catcher net?
Yeah, they actually, well, you know what they did was they had a giant trap and they put some peanut butter on it or sometimes some cheese. And then
there's a box over it.
Yeah, and so then when the sex workers could smell the peanut butter, they would like go over and they would go to grab it, and then the clamp would come down and it would catch them.
Yeah.
That's how they caught them.
That's great. Why are we defunding these people? I mean, this sounds like great ideas.
Hey, listen,
just like taking a bunch of Benadryl.
They were in businesses' parking lots having sex, so they had to be arrested.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. When I do it, it's a Tuesday. When they do it, it's illegal. But I'm also just doing it for free. So
yeah, how dare you?
If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, I swear.
To be fair, having sex in a public parking lot, even in a car, is definitely still illegal, no matter if you are paid or not.
I've actually never done it. I've never done that.
Good. I'm glad you're not admitting to
crime.
A federal crime on our podcast.
So Jamie's boss remembers him as a really well-liked guy and a valuable member of their team. The trouble was, Balagia not only worked hard, but he also played hard. It was all fun and games until Balagia was spotted in Houston at a drug dealer's house buying an 8-ball of cocaine for the weekend.
Hey, boss, I'm just doing a little off the clock undercover work.
Yeah, I'm working on my own case, actually.
Someone's gonna have to go by this house, right? At some point, it's a drug house. We got to see the drugs. Also, had to test it. How do you know if they're cutting it with fentanyl?
This is all research purposes.
And I didn't know until the 6th gram of the 8-ball. So, sue me.
This little incident forced Balagia to go to rehab, and then when he returned to his unit, he was demoted.
They let you come back from something like that? Like
apparently,
you could be a cop being caught buying an 8-ball at a drug house, and they're still like, "Hey, bud, we're gonna put you on desk duty for a little bit." Like that's what they do.
It was the 80s in Austin, Texas. It was a time to be alive.
Oh, it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this makes way more sense.
Yeah. It was
absolutely.
It was in the late 80s, early 90s that he got caught.
Oh yeah, you could do whatever you wanted.
You could do whatever the fuck you wanted,
sure.
Especially if you were a cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did demote him. He was basically a glorified parking lot attendant. He would check impounded cars in and out of the lot. His boss encouraged him to leave because he was like, "You're never gonna get your job back. Like you'll never get your job back. This is what you're gonna do the rest of your life, or you can leave." And so Jamie left law enforcement and went to law school.
Okay. You can do coke as a lawyer.
You can.
Honestly,
so many lawyers do coke.
Yeah, you can get cases done faster.
Faster,
there,
actually.
Right? You can't
better.
arrest people faster. That's just bad. But if you can get cases done faster, it's a win.
So Balagia, he went to college, went to law school. He became a defense attorney. So luckily, Balagia lives in Manor, which is a small town near Austin, Texas, a city that has a plethora of bars and nightlife. He decides to hone his skill into becoming a lawyer that specializes in DWIs. DWI stands for drinking while intoxicated, if you did not know. Similar to DUI, driving under the influence. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know why we have multiple acronyms for the same thing, but they're slightly different or something, right?
I think driving
intoxicated is specifically alcohol, right?
Yes, driving while intoxicated refers to alcohol. Driving under the influence can mean drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Ohio, we always just said DUI, but then but they recently switched to DWI.
Yeah, why add an extra U? I
don't know. Balagia became known as the DWI dude. That was how he sold himself to the public so that they would know that he covered DWIs. The reason he became the DWI dude was because he was representing so many people who had DWIs, and he wanted it to be catchy, and I guess his one friend had a nickname for him, which was Dude.
I think that guy called him that just like a couple times.
Because he didn't know his name.
Yeah. He's like, "What's up,
hey, dude."
Dude, he's like, "I will take that. That will be me now."
He's like, "That's my identity.
That will be all I am."
Am I dude?
I am now.
He became DWI dude.
I just imagine he was showing up to court with like cut off like suits, like the sleeves are cut off.
Oh, I'm gonna describe him.
He's like, "Hey man, it's me, the DWI dude.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm so not gonna lie to you. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Balagia was extremely creative in his marketing. He would pass out poker chips and koozies with his name and number on them. He also
passing out koozies as a guy who gets people off drunk driving charges is wild, man.
This guy is crazy. He also had pens and other items with his information on them. He would even pass these out in the courtroom when he went to trial. The judge would be like, "Can you not do that?" And he would still do that. He would also drive like a van, like a work van with his logo on it. everywhere he went, like this big vote logo with his name on it and his face.
Oh, it did have his face. I was literally just about to say, well, at least it wasn't like his face.
Oh no, it was his fucking face. And he also had silly commercials so that people would remember him. Like Kashan was saying, he didn't really look the most professional. He looked like a wannabe cowboy. He had long hair that he kept back in a shitty ponytail.
Oh, he has a ponytail?
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah,
man.
it's a ponytail. A bolo tie, which is like that tie. It's not a tie. It's like 2 strings with a little gem in the middle.
I'm from the Southwest. I know what a bolo tie is.
Well, I didn't know what it was called. I typed in cowboy tie to get the name.
Oh, wow. Okay, I guess it's just something I know.
Well, it's not only you. I just didn't know the
from
name
where
for it.
I'm from.
I'm sure other people know. I just didn't know that's what it was called. He would wear a bolo tie, cowboy hat, boots, and a flannel. He looked like someone you'd be related to. I don't know. He looked like a nice guy. Like, he looked like a funny guy. Like,
everything you're describing sounds like a drunk uncle who you don't let the 13-year-old cousins around.
No, just
but
just the drunk uncle.
He has a ponytail, bro. He can't look not creepy as a grown man with a ponytail.
I don't think he looks that creepy.
Okay.
But maybe I just grew up around too many men with ponytails.
I like more than a couple is already too many.
I feel like I knew a lot of men with ponytails growing up.
Wild.
Yeah. And you know what? Everything he did, it worked. Balagia became extremely successful. Not only was he flashy, but he was just exactly what he advertised. He was winning cases. He was getting people out of their DWIs.
Oh, he was good at it too?
Yeah, he was. Right. He was so successful that he opened a second office in San Antonio, Texas. And Balagia would also make YouTube videos instructing on people what to do if you were ever pulled over for a DWI. Another way he would promote his business is he would go to bars and he would take breathalyzers with him, and people would blow in them at the bar to see if they were too drunk to drive, and they loved it. Like, they thought it was so fun.
I mean, who doesn't like meeting the DWI dude and getting blown at a bar?
Oh, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. He would also sponsor events that would educate people on DWIs and how, you would go through the test if the police would ever pull you over. And then at these events, he would also make people put his number into their phones in case they ever got pulled over for a DWI. And he got a lot of clients that way. They would get pulled over because they were drunk driving or they were driving under the influence of something. Allegedly. And then they already had his number in their phone and they would just call him right away. Scene of the crime. And people also had an inherent trust of Balagia because of his background as a cop. So they were like,
he got kicked off the force for buying an 8-ball, bro.
They might not have known that, though.
Okay, I'm about to say, I'm just saying,
I don't know if that was public knowledge. He would be like, I used to be a cop and I know how this works. I'm a lawyer now. Like, I don't think people were like digging into the past.
I just feel like your first question should be like, why'd you stop being a cop?
Because it's a shitty job.
So's being a defense lawyer.
I guess that's true.
Why would you, especially because you're a fucking traitor, you switch sides. You're not even a prosecutor. You become you literally switch and become a defender, like defending against the police. I'd be like, huh.
Suspicious. Well, although Balagia was well liked by many, he did have some people who were upset with him and his business practices. The law office of James Balagia only has 3 Google reviews, but 1 out of the 3 tells a startling tale. The reviewer says, quote, got sent to jail for 6.5 months for a misdemeanor possession charge, to which one of Jamie's underlings reeked of liquor, not to mention the smell from his cup. Now, they sent a debtor after me for a few measly $100 after I have desperately scrambled myself for losing time. I didn't say this was well written. By myself, I could have gotten 2 weeks, but with you guys, I got 6.5 months. Thanks for still trying to bleed me. Good luck.
I don't know if you could have only gotten 2 weeks by yourself.
I don't believe that part.
Just starting off with that. But he's saying that the person, like the lawyer that he worked with, like wasn't him, but smelled of liquor when he came to the courtroom?
Yeah, he was saying that he smelled drunk. And people did note that Balagia did have an alcohol problem.
With no fucking duh. He's doing his advertising at bars, and his whole life's purpose is to get people off of DWI charges.
He did become sober eventually, but there was a period of time where he struggled with addiction.
When he was in prison, he never
went to prison.
Oh shit! Well, spoilers. I thought.
Oh! You mean later?
Yeah,
he does go to prison.
I'm saying what? Then he's like, well, you have to get sober now, or else you're drinking toilet wine.
Yeah, literally. One former client recalled that they had contacted Balagia to get him out of his third DWI. The client was struggling with addiction, and unfortunately, it had spiraled out of control. He earned himself 3 DWIs. He knew that Balagia was successful in winning cases, and Balagia told him that he wouldn't have to serve the 12 years in prison that he was facing, and that he would only end up serving probation when he was through with representing him. Balagia told him that one way he would get him out of his sentence was by making campaign contributions to a local judge. He assured the client that he did this all the time.
Yeah, hey man, it's just routine bribery. You know,
Yeah.
it's fine. You throw the judge some money and he lets you off easy. What's illegal about that? Trust me, I'm a lawyer.
Trust me, I'm the DWI dude.
I'm a drunk lawyer for sure right now, but lawyer is still in that sentence. So trust me.
I got you. The client went along with this because he was desperate to stay out of prison. He made his first financial contribution of $5,000. The client ended up giving Balagia over $50,000. Balagia assured him that he and a judge, who he called Jack, would be able to get him out of prison time. But once he gave Balagia the money, he had nothing to show for it. He ended up draining his bank account, giving Balagia whatever money he asked for the promise of his freedom. However, Balagia had been playing him all along. The two went out to lunch, and Balagia told him that he was not going to be able to get him out of prison time, and he told his client to just take this 12 years in prison that he was facing. Obviously, the client was stunned. He had poured $50,000 into his lawyer, hoping for some sort of miracle. He says that he felt his body went numb when Balagia told him all this. Once Balagia drops the hammer on this guy, he gives the client the bill and tells him to take care of this one last bill for lunch.
Oh, man.
And he never saw him again.
That's wild. Man, bribery doesn't even work anymore. That kind of sucks.
No, that does blow. I don't know if that guy ever did go to prison or not.
I'm assuming
probably
he did.
Probably did. The guy was like, I felt for him in some way, but in another way, I was like, dude, you're like really like, come on. He was like, I can't go to jail. I have kids. And I was like, you have 3 DWIs. Like,
you shouldn't have drunk.
You shouldn't have driven drunk
3 times.
Because here's the thing. You got caught 3 times. How many times did you drive drunk and you didn't get caught?
Every night? So what?
Another case of Balagia screwing people over was, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, the McCowan case. Balagia was representing a woman named Jill McCowan. She had been arrested because she was trying to buy a large quantity of marijuana. The DEA seized $50,000 in cash that she was planning to use to buy the drugs. After bringing on Balagia as her defense attorney, he assured her that he, quote, knew judges, knew prosecutors, and that it, quote, wasn't going to be a problem to get her case dismissed. Balagia was not able to get McCowan's charges dropped, and she was placed into a pretrial diversion program. Pretrial diversion means the decision of a prosecutor to refer an offender to a diversion program on the condition that the criminal charges against the offender will be dismissed after a specified period of time, or the case will not be charged if the offender successfully completes the program. So it's kind of like
So it's like driving school when you get caught in like a minor traffic violation instead of going to court or whatever. You get to take the driving school.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Okay.
So McCowan granted, she did what she had to do. She did this pre-trial program, but she wanted to get back that $50,000 that the DEA had taken because she was like, it's not illegal for me to have $50,000 on me. I didn't actually buy marijuana with it. You just caught me. Like,
yeah. I mean, I guess depending, like if you've made a withdrawal from your bank in the form of $50,000 and not filled out the form,
yeah,
that is illegal.
However, the DEA eventually agreed to giving her back the cash, and Balagia provided them with bank account numbers for the money to be deposited back into. However, he did not provide them with McCowan's bank account numbers. He gave them the numbers for a bank account that was for his law office. He claimed that he did this to recoup on unpaid legal fees.
Which is not a legal way to do that.
No.
Almost definitely.
No.
I don't know for sure, but sounds pretty illegal, yeah.
Yeah, no. And Balagia neglected to tell McCowan about the deal, and he sent her a letter asking her if she would be okay with getting only $9,500 to $10,000 back. Since she had no idea about the deal that had been put in place with the DEA, she agreed to getting the smaller amount because she was like, well, I'd rather get about $10,000 back than nothing back. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll take that money back. So Balagia received the $50,000 and McCowan only got $9,500 of that. Later, he did give her $7,000 more because the state bar intervened.
Oh, thank God. I was like, come on, man. That's still not a lot of money, though.
No, that's still like less than half of what she got taken from her.
I hope she didn't pay any legal fees on top of that. Like, I hope that, like, what is that? That's $33,000. I hope that was just her legal fees and she didn't pay any more money on top of that. But that's wild.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Now, Balagia did not only represent clients in trouble, like with alcohol, like I said, like the last girl we just talked about, he would also take on clients who were involved with drugs. And he said he often preferred clients who had drug charges against them.
Yeah,
don't know why.
We do the same cocaine, so it's kind of nice. We have something to bond over.
Well, and we can share it.
Yeah.
And they've got a plug. So, in 2014, Ernest Gonzalez, a federal prosecutor who helped bring down the Zeta cartel, was after a man named Segundo Seguro, a Colombian drug lord. Now, Balagia was actually representing Seguro and had been meeting with Gonzalez about what his client should do to avoid extradition to the United States. Gonzalez told Balagia that he needed to give up info in order to stay in Colombia, for Segura to stay in Colombia. Mm-hmm. So who is Segura? Who are these people? So the Segura brothers were major cocaine dealers in Colombia. They had a huge cocaine lab. In a year, they would move about 60,000 kilos of cocaine, and they made over $1 billion.
Are we in the wrong business?
Oh, 100%. They were moving about 2,000 kilos per week in cocaine. This is worth millions of dollars. Like per week, this is millions. And Seguro, at first, when he got caught, he was cooperative, but then he stopped. He stopped giving Gonzalez any information. And once he stops giving info, he is arrested. So the government believed that Seguro thought that he would be able to avoid extradition without giving up information. And why would that be? And how did Balagia get involved with the cartel in the first place? It seems like a pretty extreme jump. Like first he's just covering DWIs in the state of Texas. Now he's dealing with Colombian kingpins. Like this is crazy. Well, he was introduced to the cartel through a man named Chuck Morgan, who was a private investigator who resided in both Florida and Colombia.
Out of anyone who I thought would be like, that guy has ties to the cartel.
Chuck Morgan.
Yeah, Chuck Morgan is not a name I'm picking out of a lineup.
And he's the whitest dude you've ever seen.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
his name's Chuck fucking Morgan.
Yeah, he's a white ass dude. So Chuck Morgan was once an informant for the DEA, and he would also work for the CIA. And he had ties to Colombian officials. So it's believed that Morgan introduced Balagia to Seguro because he was looking for a lawyer who would be able to help him avoid extradition. Since Seguro was a kingpin, he isn't used to doing things by the book. He was specifically looking for a lawyer who would be able to sway judges to his favor by whatever means necessary.
Hey, Seguro, I'd like to help you, but bribery doesn't work anymore. I've really been trying, and it's just, they don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
So I don't know. It's a tough time to be a crooked lawyer.
It's hard.
It's just
I'm
rough.
just a lawyer.
Economy's rough right now.
I'm just a defense attorney.
Not rough enough for judges to accept bribes, but it's rough.
The only issue is Balasia's a defense attorney. All the money that he takes from clients has to be clean money, meaning that it cannot be made illegally. Balagia knew this when he took on Segura's case, but he didn't care. He took him on as a client anyways. And he charged Segundo Segura about $900,000 for his services. Segura was also on the OFAC list, which is the Office of Foreign Assets Control. So this is directly from the website. There was a lot in this even though this is like this is an easily digestible episode, there's still a lot of things I had to look up because I was like, I don't know what that means. So this is what the OFAC is. This is directly from their website. It's a department of the U.S. Treasury that forces economic and trade sanctions based in U.S. foreign policy and national security goals against targeted foreign countries and regimes, terrorists, international narcotics traffickers, those engaged in activities related to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and other threats of national security, foreign policy, or economy, or the economy of the United States.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep halfway through. Can you say it again?
If you're a bad guy, they won't deal with you.
Oh, okay, chill.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
OFAC. OFAC. Is that how you say it? Is that what it's supposed to be called?
No, I don't know. You just said it's the OFAC. That's OFAC.
Well, that's what I don't know.
I'm sure someone calls it that.
Yeah, I'm sure they call it OFAC somewhere. That makes sense. That sounds official. That sounds official.
Does it? OFAC?
I don't know.
Okay.
OFAC.
Yeah, see, does that
You
sound
find out
official?
you're on the list and you yell, OFAC.
Yeah, well.
So some other well-known figures on this list are El Chapo and Putin. So.
Hey, high honor.
High honor.
High honor to be on that list.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty bad.
Gotta be a bad dude.
Yeah, you can't be a good person to be on that list. So after about a year of Balagia working with Seguro, things start going south. He's starting to think that there's some fishy stuff happening. Seguro and his people were becoming upset with Balagia. And there was this come to Jesus meeting with Balagia, Morgan, and Seguro's Colombian attorney, Bibiana Carrera.
Bibiana, nice. I like that name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. The three of them assured Seguro that he was going to be okay and that they were paying off U.S. officials to have his case swept under the rug. They assured him that they were receiving their payments and that they were paying off people like they had promised. Now, Seguro films this entire meeting because he's like, no, you all are playing me. So he films the whole meeting. And from what I could understand, I think he gives it directly to the FBI. Because the FBI gets a hold of this tape.
Oh, geez.
Because he's like, hey, I'm already in trouble, but like these guys are screwing me over.
So I'm going to get them arrested for bribery?
Yeah, literally. He was so mad.
Damn.
So Balagia claims that he knew nothing of the bribery and that when they talked about it in the meeting, he said that he was caught off guard and his exact quote was, "What the heck is this about?"
Like when I said, I'm giving money to these judges and prosecutors so your case will get dropped, I was surprised that those words were coming out of my mouth.
I couldn't believe I said that.
I was like, what? Bribe? I'd never heard about this. Why am I saying this? It must be those improv classes I'm taking. I'm just making stuff up.
Yes, and this.
I don't know. The character invaded my body and just came out. I don't know what happened.
It's hilarious that he says this, considering that he told Seguro that he knew 4 people in Washington, D.C. that he could convince to drop the charges. He also told Seguro to provide him 30 names to the DEA of people who were involved in his cocaine dealings. However, he told him to name people who are not actually part of his trafficking ring at all and just put down the names of people who are already under investigation but had nothing to do with Segura. So he's like, make a fake list.
Yeah, the people who helped me were El Chapo, that guy who's on that same OFAC list.
Putin.
I think O.J. Simpson was there.
P. Diddy.
Oh, yeah, P. Diddy. The freak-offs were crazy at the Columbian house.
We were actually putting the cocaine in the baby oil.
Michael Jackson was there. Yeah, just random, a random assortment of people who are already under investigation.
Yeah. He absolutely knew what he was going on because he also told Segura that he closes his ears in order to keep them all safe. Like I said a little bit ago, FBI gets involved. From what I could understand, Segura literally gives them the tape. They found suspicious activity, the FBI, they're investigating this, and they find suspicious activity in one of Balagia's personal bank accounts. The account had practically been dormant. It wasn't really being used for anything, just miscellaneous withdrawals here and there for gym membership and some other small things, but no direct deposits or anything like that. Until he starts representing Segura, and he starts getting large payments into his account, like $400,000 plus was coming in often and frequently. None of the money, this is what's weird too, none of the money was actually being deposited in Texas. It was being deposited in 9 different states.
Like physically deposited, like someone was taking cash in 9 different states.
Literally, people were taking cash and like taking it to the ATM or the bank and depositing it into this account. It was also being done strategically because all the payments that were being deposited into the account were under $10,000, which is what you have. If a payment is over $10,000, it has to be reported to the IRS. But what's crazy about all of this is that Balagia would have been able to get this money legally if he had applied for an OFAC license, but he didn't. He wasn't this would have been fine. It would have been fine for him to be represented if he had done the paperwork that he needed to do. But instead, he just distributed, like $9,000 out in increments of $9,000 out to 9 different states to a bunch of money mules to deposit into the same bank account. Yep.
Sounds simple enough.
But where did all that money go? It seems as though no one was paid off with Segura's money. He truly had no ties. Balagia truly had no ties with judges who could help him, and he just pocketed all the money.
Oh my God, I knew it. Bribery does still work. He just wasn't giving them the money. This makes so much more sense now. Yeah.
So actually, I guess this happens a lot in Colombia because these drug lords are sitting on so much money that lawyers will steal money from them a lot, which sounds dangerous. Now, Segura's brother, Aldemar Segura, was at the time, and I'm sure he still is, in prison in Dallas, Texas. So when his brother Segundo Segura,
say that 3 times.
Oh my God, was arrested in Colombia, his brother Aldemar was in Miami, and he got arrested for cocaine as well. And after his arrest, he was transported to Texas. So the FBI gets Aldemar to agree that he will hire Balagia to bribe U.S. judges so that the FBI can catch him in the act. Of course, when they have a meeting, it's Chuck Morgan, Balagia, the FBI agent, and Aldemar. During this meeting, Balagia agrees to do the case. You might be wondering why an FBI agent was present at this meeting. The FBI agent was undercover, and they were posing as an accountant for Aldemar. So when they were in this meeting, they're talking, and the accountant who's posing, the FBI agent who's posing as the accountant, asks what the cartel can get for $1.2 million. So Morgan tells them that he will take officials out for a sundae it's like an ice cream sundae with an extra scoop. Balagia says that he can twist the government's arm on issues like that. So they agree that they're going to take this $1.2 million and bribe officials to reduce his sentencing.
Here's the thing: is you are actually pretty lucky because the judge in your case does not have lactose intolerance. So that extra scoop's going to go a long way, all right? If your judge had to take Lactaid, we're talking 1.2 million is not getting you very far, okay? So you're lucky. I got a date on Dairy Queen on Sunday.
The accountant tells Balagia that the money that he will be paid with is drug money, and she asks him if he's okay with this, and he tells her that he is fine with it. Illegal. Since he doesn't have a license to deal with international drug dealing, this is the final straw to nail Balagia. The undercover agent gives Morgan and Balagia $300,000 in cash in a bag. It's like literally in a duffel bag as a first payment for their dealings. This is what nails them, and Balagia and Morgan are arrested. Balagia was arrested for coke the first time he got arrested, and now he's getting arrested for coke the second time.
Much more indirectly, but yeah.
But he's still dealing with cocaine. Everybody got in trouble with this. Balagia got in trouble, Morgan got in trouble, and Bibiana Carrera also got in trouble because she was in on this. Morgan and Carrera pled guilty to money laundering and obstruction of justice. Morgan was sentenced to 6 years in prison. I am pretty sure I think he might have passed away, but he had ended up with Alzheimer's. The
whitest of the diseases.
Literally.
I actually think it disproportionately affects African American men, but
just speak out your ass because I believed you. And Carrera got 7 years in prison. Balagia did not take the plea deal, and he went to court. He's like, let me represent myself here. Let me represent. He tried to make it look like he didn't know what he was doing to the jury, and that he just like accidentally started representing drug kingpins.
I didn't think they were drug kingpins. I just thought, they were really cool guys.
I just thought they had like big guns and tons of coke.
Yeah,
that hot girls around all the time.
That sounds cool to me. That's like my ideal life. So I just thought, oh man, these guys are awesome. I better represent them.
Yeah. A fellow colleague says it's hard to believe that he did all of this intentionally, but sweetheart, he did. Balagia was found guilty of conspiracy to commit money laundering, obstruction of justice, and a violation of the Kingpin Act, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. On October 29th, 2019, Jamie Balagia was sentenced to 188 months in prison, which is about 16 years. He also had to forfeit his law office and money judgment of $1.5 million. Although he went to prison, I consider him pretty lucky that he was able to just go to prison instead of being killed by the cartel.
Yet. To be fair, I guess the cartel already kind of got him because they were the ones that
they literally turned him in. They literally just turned him in. I'm surprised that he did that instead of killing him, but it might have been because I'm wondering if it's because he's like, I'm not going to get out of this extradition charge. And he was like, well, if I have a murder on top of it.
Yeah, you're already on the hook. It looks a lot better to turn someone in instead of kill them. Right?
Yeah. That's my guess on why he was not killed, but he should consider himself lucky.
You think the force will hire him again once he gets out?
They might.
They're like, we're demoning you again, though,
He's got connects now.
Demoting you again.
He's got Columbian drug connects, so just saying. Jamie Balagia might have been the DWI dude, but he was the dumb, wild, and idiot when it came to his law practices. Balagia thought that he could pull his scummy schemes all the way up to the top. Blindsiding South America's most wanted is something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And Balagia is sitting in a prison cell, right where he belongs. Balagia should have stayed in Maynard, Texas, where he belonged. Well, thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Season 17 of White Collars, Red Hands. If you want more from where this came from, you can check our social media. What? If you want more of us, if you can't get enough of this thick juiciness, well, that is our podcast.
I'm just going to let you go.
I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't know. You just keep saying stuff. Yeah, no, this is going good.
You can check out our socials. We're on social media at facebook.com/whitecollarsredhands. We're on Twitter, aka X, at whitecollarspod. We are on Instagram at whitecollars_redhands. We are on TikTok at whitecollarsredhands. We are on YouTube at, you guessed it, White Collars Red Hands. Please subscribe so we can make some money. If you want another free way to support us, you could tell a friend about our podcast. Word of mouth is a great way to spread the news of podcasting. Another way that if you liked this episode, you liked what you heard, you're like, oh my God, they nailed it again. You can leave us a review. You can go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We love a 5-star review, but an honest review is also good. If you want an unfree way to sponsor us, or not to sponsor us, to support us, you could go to our website, whitecollarsredhands@gmail.com, and click on the merch tab. It'll take you over to TeePublic, and you can get some merch, like my hoodie that I'm wearing right now. And I've been wearing it for what? I've had this like 4 years now?
Yeah. No,
honestly, held up pretty well.
Actually, it's basically our 4-year podiversary.
It is almost our podiversary.
Next week, I think, is our 4-year podiversary.
Oh, who has to buy the food this time?
I think it's me.
Fuck yeah.
You're going to make an unemployed man buy food?
No.
I'm almost employed, everybody. Don't worry. There's prospects. Prospects on the horizon.
He works the corner every Saturday. Meet him there.
Hey, that's why I am employed. I tell people I have a job, all right? Just I can't tell you.
Sex work is work, Kashawn.
Because it is illegal.
You don't need to be embarrassed.
Thank you. Check out my OF.
OF.
White collars.
_red
red hands. _ fat ass. At OF.
At OF.
I don't know how they work.
I don't remember. There was another thing I was going to say, and then you distracted me.
Sorry.
Oh! If you hear about a white-collar crime and think that we should cover it, please send it our way. You can DM it to us on our socials, or you can email us at whitecollarsredhands@gmail.com. And I think that's it.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you on episode 2 of White Collars Red Hands.